Okay, stats fans, today we're talking about a box and whisker plot. Okay? Box and whiskers are literally just it's a picture of what's called the 5-number summary. Okay? So here's an example of what a box and whiskers looks like. And in a box and whiskers, notice it's broken up into 4 regions. Each of these regions is 25% of the data. So this region in here is 25%, 25%, and 25%. And then the box is representing 50% of the data. Okay? Now, remember from remember the other day when we were doing the when you did your mean, median, and mode, the only thing that we worry about in a box and whiskers is the median, and then we have to do what's called finding the quartiles. Okay, and that becomes what's called our 5-number summary. It's part of the 5-number summary. Okay. So first of all, let's do some definitions here. So the median. Median is literally just the middle number. You already know this one. Middle number when in order. Okay. Okay. We have if you have a lot of data, let's say you have like 300-400 pieces of data. I mean, obviously the computer can do the information for us, but what we have here is this. We have, in order to figure out what position you are looking at, we have what's called a position number. In other words, it could be the eighth piece of data that you're looking at, the 10th piece of data. So the position of the median, it goes by this formula, n plus 1 over 2. That n literally refers to how much data is in the set. Okay? Total number of data in the set. So that n is referring to total of the number of data in the set. Number of data in set. So if I have 50 pieces of data, this would be 50 plus 1 divided by 2. Okay? And then we're going to get into that as to if we have an even number of data versus an odd number of data. We'll get into that. Okay? So another word for the median is called the second quartile. Another word for the median is called the second quartile. All right? The first quartile, that is literally the middle of the lower half of the data. Notice I said lower half. That would be the first half, so the smaller numbers up to the median. So the lower half, sometimes the first quartile is called the lower quartile. Okay, so sometimes the first quartile is called the lower quartile. The third quartile is middle of the upper half of the data. Okay, notice I said upper. So the third quarter, the other name for the third quarter is called the upper quartile. Interquartile range. Notice in my diagram, I have here what's called the interquartile range. Okay, that is literally the difference between the first quartile and the third quartile. So interquartile range, the abbreviation is IQR. so interquartile range, so IQR is literally the third quartile, because that's usually the larger value. So Q3 minus Q1. Third quartile, first quartile. Okay. And now the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is the information that we use to create the box plot. Okay? So this is a picture of a box plot, and we have what's called a 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is literally the min, okay, or minimum, it is the first quartile, so I'm just going to put first Q, median, third Q, and then the max. Okay? So this is what the 5-number summary are, these 5 things. Look at your data, what's the smallest number? Look at your data, what's the largest number? Then we have our median and our quartiles. So the very, very first thing that we do with all of our data is put it in order so we can find the median, take care of the quartiles, and then we slap down the minimums and the max. Okay? This is the information that we use to create the box and whiskers. Okay? And notice, here they are. Here are your pieces. Here's the min, Q1, the median, Q3, and the max. Okay? All right, let's look at a piece of data. Let's look at data now so we can do this stuff. So, first thing we have is we have a following set of data. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 pieces of data items here. Okay, so we're going to find each of these things. So in order for us to find the median, we have to put this stuff in order. We have to put this in order. So let me start putting this in order. So what do we have? The 25 is the smallest number. I'll do it right here. So 25, then we have what? What comes after 25? Looks like 28. Then we have a pair of 29s. Then we have 30, 34, 35s. And 37, 38. There, I put them in order. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, we don't miss anything. Now, so one thing you can do, I mean, if I just have a small set of numbers like this, we can just start counting backwards. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our median is right here in the middle. I want to show you that little position thing that I did. Remember that on the other side, the position of the median? So the median position. Remember this little formula? N plus 1 over 2. Okay? N is 10, right? So that means 10 plus 1 over 2, so which is 11 over 2, which is 5.5. So our median is in between two numbers. Our median is in between the 5th and the 6th number, okay? So when you see a decimal, 0.5, that means you're in between 5 and 6, okay? So if I had a decimal of 7.5, we're in between 7 and 8, okay? So now, since we are in between those two, we have to add them together and divide by 2. So what do we have? 64 divided by 2 is 32. So the median is 32. Okay? Now, the first quartile. Remember, the definition of the first quartile is the middle of the first half. Well, here is the first half, the lower half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There it is right there. That's dead center. So 29 is the first quartile. So Q1. This is the median. So 29. The third quartile, we do the same thing. There's 5 numbers here. So there it is right there, 35. There's the Q3, third quartile. Middle of the second half, or the upper half. What's the minimum? Well, minimum is 25, and the max is 38. Now a box plot is literally draw yourself a number line. It doesn't have to be a fancy number line or anything like that. I'm making myself a straight edge here, so I have a ruler in front of me. So all I have to do is just draw yourself a line. It doesn't have to be a fancy line or anything like that. Just draw yourself a nice straight line. There, I drew myself a nice straight line. Okay? And on this line, what's our smallest number going to be? 32. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start at 30, and I'm going to count by 5s. So what do we got? 30. Oh, no, I'm not going to start by... No, our smallest number is 25. What am I doing? So our smallest number is 25. I'm going to count by 5. So it's 25. Try and be neat with your spacings. Here's 30, 35, 40. Okay, so we're going to squeeze in our box plot in this little number line. Okay, so we're going to plot the median. The median is at 25. I put a dot for my whiskers, and then make sure you label them, because sometimes they don't land at perfect spots. As you can saw in the notes, you know, depending on, you know, your computer or whatever it is, they put a little hash mark. It's up to you. I like to use dots. This computer this program where I got this information from, you know, they use a little hash mark. No big deal. Okay. Maximum is 38, so that's in between here somewhere. Here's 38. Notice I'm going to label it. First quartile is at 29. Well, that's just a little bit before. Now, I'll put a dot just to identify it, a small dot. Median is at, oh, where am I here? The median is at 32. So here's 32 right there. So this was at 29. This is 32. And then the third quartile is at 35. So that's right on the line. Okay. Now, we have the important information right here, but the graph itself is called a box. So the width of the box is your choosing. However wide you want to make the box, your box is the width between the first quartile and the third quartile. And how wide you make it, the length of the box is the difference between the 29 and the 35, the third and the first quartile. Okay, the width of the box is your choice. So you make it as wide as you want. Okay, but the length, it depends on your first quartile and your third quartile. Okay, and now I just draw my extra lines in. So this line right here represents the median, and then I attach the whiskers. There. We just did a box plot. So a box plot is just a representation of the 5-number summary. That's all it is a representation of the 5-number summary. So let's just do one more, and we're done. All right, looks like there's a lot more data here. So we got to find our smallest. What do we have here for Looks like I have 36 is the small. Then it's 37. Then I have, looks like 41, 42 and 43. Oh, I got a bunch of 43s. So I have 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, yeah. And 45. 47, 48. Pair of 50s. And then 55. Let's count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right. I think the hardest thing for you guys is going to be just putting them in order. All right. So I'm going to do that little position-y thing that I did with you earlier. So the median position. So remember that was the n plus 1 over 2 for the position of the median. So we said 13 plus 1 over 2, so that's 14 divided by 2 is 7. So we're looking for the 7th number in the set. Once it's in order, the 7th number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here right there is the 7th number. That is our median. If you're not sure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So notice how I counted backwards? We're going to let it in the same spot. So the median is 43. All right, first quartile. Middle of the first half. So the middle of those. By the way, you could do that positioning thing again. Okay. We have 6 terms here, so 6 plus 1. So is 7, so 3.5. So we're in between 3 and 4. That's right, we're in between 41 and 42. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We're in between 41 and 42. Okay, so with that said, we have to do 41 plus 42 divided by 2. Okay, so what's this? 83 over 2, which is 41.5. So the first quartile is 41.5. Who cares it's a decimal? Third quartile. So again, we have to go 3.5 spots out. Here it is right here. We're in between those two. So 48 plus 50 divided by 2. All right, so that's 98 over 2, which is 49. So the third quartile is 49. So here was the first quartile. Here's the third quartile. That's your median. All right, min. 36 is the min. And 55 was the max. And our box plot. Let me just do this again. What are we going to count by? I like counting by 5s. It's nice and easy to count by. So I'm going to draw my number line. Just try and be neat when you space things out. Here's I'm going to start with, let's say the min is 36. I'm going to start with a 35. And we'll stop at 55. So 35, 40, 45, 50, 55. There. Okay? Now I just got to start putting my dots, so then we can draw our box. So our min is 36, so 36 is right here. Our max is 55. Let's see, 41.5, so 41.5 looks about there. Median is 43, so 43 looks about there. Third quartile looks about here. And now I just draw my box itself. Remember, the width of the box is your call. How wide you want to make it is your call. The length of the box is determined by the first quartile and the third quartile. There. Do our connections. And we just did a box plot. That's what a box plot is, folks. We're all done.